Hey, hello, and welcome to Earthworks Hub. I'm your host, Ivan Orlovic from Eagle One Industries, and I'm very excited. I've got another guest on the show today. I've got Travis Delany from Dirtpak Excavations. Welcome to the show, Travis.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Thanks for coming in. Okay, so let's just get straight into it. Can you just give us a bit of history on yourself? So, what the company does and how it started.
Yeah, so pretty much we're sort of no different to many other civil earth moving companies. We just do a bit of subdivisions. We got blokes doing some rock placing at the moment and digging over some pipelines. Yeah, we just started off pretty small and grew naturally, and yeah, we ended up big, not bigger than what I wanted to get, pretty much.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
So what actually maybe before I go on about the company, like what about yourself? How did you get in the industry?
So pretty much I'm a plumber by trade, and I was working for me uncle and cousin, did my apprenticeship with them. Um, we used to hire in machines to do all our drains from, it was actually RMR plant hire. Hired in all our machines to do our drains and stuff like that. And I just sort of threw the suggestion out one day. I sort of always wanted to get into earth moving. So I threw the suggestion out one day that we would buy ourselves a little 1.7 ton. And I talked my uncle into it, convinced him and my cousin to go and get one. Told him that I could do a better job than most of the blokes we're hiring, which I probably couldn't, but I thought I'd have a crack. So yeah, finally got ourselves a little 1.7 and started doing our own drains and stuff like that, and we just grew from there. So I jumped in their machine and kept plumbing for a while, and then yeah, I just eventually wanted to get out of the plumbing and went and bought myself a little. I started off with a Hyundai 3.5 ton and a little Hino beaver tail, and yeah, just started running around doing some plant hire work. And it was actually Warwick from RMR Plant Hire, because we had that relationship with him through hiring. He was the first plant hire that I rang and told him that I was going out on my own, and he put me onto a few other smaller mobs. Graham from Complete Plant Hire, he definitely helped me get a start in the industry. He was the one that gave me a good 90% of my work for the first, I don't know, let's say 2 or 3 years. So yeah, just from there, just started running around doing little plant hire things.
Hmm. And whereabouts are you guys based?
I'm in a little town called Colombinane, which is Wallen. It's past Wallen and in between sort of Wallen and Broadford.
Oh, okay. And what
So,
about, is most of your work in that area, or do you sort of just travel?
no, we sort of go anywhere. I definitely don't go southeast. I find it a nightmare to get over to the southeast. So we'll go north and we'll go west pretty much. We're right on the Hume Highway, so down the Hume, around the ring road, as much as the ring road's a nightmare. Yeah, it's not that hard to get out to the west, and we can always come back roads home. All of my guys live up this side of town, so I got one in Wallen, one in Seymour, and one in Epping.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you're talking about guys. How are you going with employees and that? Like, how many have you got?
At the moment, there's three, including myself. We've got four of us working. Employees are hard to get good employees. I'm very lucky that the three guys I've got now, touch wood, are absolutely fantastic. Haven't had any dramas with them. I think I've had my 20-ton operator. I think I've had him for coming up to 3 years now, and I think the other ones are close on too. Very loyal boys. Yeah, great. They started in small machines and worked their way up. We had a couple of issues early on, but yeah, now they're great. They look after my machines well, and yeah, definitely help out where they can.
Yeah, that's good to hear. What do you think the trick is to keeping the guys for so long? Like, so for other guys that have got employees,
Um, Look,
what can they learn from you?
I you probably hear it from a lot of small companies, but I sort of pride myself on trying to be family orientated. Like, I'll do. I know all the kids. Love all their kids. I invite them up here all the time. They're welcome to come up. I've got a farm as well, so their kids are always welcome up to, muck around with the farm animals, or we all ride dirt bikes and horses. So, one of my operators, his kids enjoy, or actually two of them, they enjoy riding motorbikes. So they're always welcome up here to ride, even sort of when I'm not around. And the other kids are sort of into horses and that as well, like my daughter. So yeah, I try and create a family environment and keep it personal, I suppose. Don't just treat them as another number. I think that's where you come undone. If you just treat someone as a number, then there's no loyalty there.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's not just all money, like you could be paying them $1 million an hour, but if you're not giving them like that environment, then it doesn't
That's
mean
right, exactly right. I was actually talking to one of my operators yesterday. I had a young kid that came and worked for me, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and he got poached by a big civil mob. I won't say the name. He got poached by them, which was fine, but he left for $1.50 an hour, and I just said to him, I'm like, mate, I don't think you understand what you get. I can pay you the $1.50. That's fine. I said, but what you're getting outside of that, like I take him. I used to take him racing. I paid to fix his motorbikes, and he was always up and around the family. And yeah,
Mm.
but he lost all that for $1.50, and next thing you know, he sort of fell off the radar racing, and I don't know what he's doing now, to tell you the honest truth.
Yeah, that happens. It's happened to me as well. I know what you mean.
It's frustrating
Um,
when you finally get a good operator and you think it's leading somewhere, and they get poached, but yeah, it's one of those things that it's hard.
yeah, it is. It's hard, especially when you've put a lot of effort in. Like I've had guys that haven't had any experience, and then I've sat with them and spent heaps of time trying to train them up and that. And then
Yeah,
once they finally get good, and you can leave them on their own, and that they get poached or they leave, and
yeah, that's
it
right.
kills you.
Well, that's the thing. Like, well, I've had conversation with my guys as well, and some of them, especially one of them, has expressed interest that in the future he'd love to buy his own machine. And mate, I'm all for that. Like, I'd prefer them to go and buy their own machine than jump ship and go and work for someone else. If I can keep them, I'll even encourage them. I'll give them phone numbers to help them out if they want to go out on their own. I'd much prefer that than to lose them to someone else for $1.50 more.
Yeah, no, that's true because I've done the same thing. I had an operator that was with me for nearly 4 years,
Yeah.
and then he wanted to go out and start his own concreting business, and I sort of helped him out. Gave him all the advice I could, and then he was actually helping me and doing some concreting for us, and I was giving him some work, and it was
Yeah, perfect.
good. Worked
Yeah.
out well. Yeah. No, that's it. We spoke a little bit about dirt bikes today. I'm into dirt bikes myself.
Oh,
I
yeah.
noticed on
Yep.
your post you had some on your Instagram post you had some pictures of a kid. It looked like you were either sponsoring him or something, or
Well, nah, that's my
go.
son. That's
Is it?
that's my yeah, that's my son. Yeah, I do sponsor him, but
Mhm.
not probably properly. It's just
Yeah.
coming out of my pocket. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's my young bloke. We're right into racing.
Okay. He's still
So
still doing that?
yeah, yep. So we've got a track at home out the back, and he actually jumps in the posse. I've got an old posse that I leave at home just for working on the track and stuff like that, and he jumps in the posse and the old 5 tonner, and he goes and preps his own track and smudges everything out and preps all his jump faces and stuff like that. So he's only 12, but
Huh.
he's definitely he smudged out the track the other day, and I sent a video to the boys going, mate, he's doing a better job than half of us would do. So yeah, it's good. It's good to see.
Yeah. No, lucky boy to
Yeah.
be able to do that. That's
Oh,
pretty
that's
cool.
right. He's very, very lucky.
Yeah, I used to dream about having the motocross track at home.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's, once you've got it, you sort of take it for granted a little bit. So, the novelty wears off pretty quickly, especially when you're training properly, not just riding around for fun.
Yeah, true, true. Just going back to the employees again.
Yep.
We spoke the other day, and it was raining. Obviously, it's raining always in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And you were saying about the boys are busy polishing a truck or something. What do you
Yeah.
do for your workers on rain days and that? So other
Oh,
listeners can
look,
have an idea.
it's hit and miss. If there's stuff for the boys to do, I'll try and get them to help out. I definitely don't. I definitely don't get them to come up and mow my lawns or garden or anything like that. If I've got anything earth moving related, I'll get them to come up and do that. But I don't expect them to come and wash my car or mow my lawns or anything like that. So the other day, yeah, it must have been Wednesday when we are expecting all that rain, and it actually wasn't that bad. I had all the boys come up, and I've got an old Kenworth that we call the farm truck. And we're going to put a tipper body on it early next year. So we're polishing that up and cleaning it up and trying to make it look a bit more presentable. So it took us all day to do that. And then while they were up here, a few of the boys, they needed to service their car, and one of the other guys needed to put a tail shaft into his car, and so we're all in the shed helping each other out, trying to get everyone up and going. And then today we got rained off. My 25's in a wetlands at the moment, and so pretty much, as soon as we get a bit of rain, it's very hard to work in the wetlands doing rock placement and stuff.
Mhm.
So he's actually out behind me at the moment, digging a trench for some waters for the cattle and stuff like that. So yeah, he's out digging at the moment.
Yeah, no, it's lucky you've got some undercover area because yeah, if you don't, I didn't have any undercover area, so we could only do certain things on rain days. But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
used to
No,
hate
I'm
rain
lucky
days.
enough that I've got a big canopy that we can get the truck under and do some stuff to it if we need to.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think rain days used to cost me the most money because I'd get the boys in and we'd be servicing machines, so I'd be spending money on that. Then I'd put on a barbecue for them and say,
Yeah,
"Oh, yeah, we'll do this," and then
yeah,
I'd say, "Oh, who needs jumpers? Who needs this?" We'll start going shopping, and it's end up
yeah.
costing me more than when they're
Exactly
actually
right.
at work.
I've actually got a note down here. One of the challenges is rain days because it's one of those things where you're not getting paid, but you're still paying the boys, and then as you said, you're getting them to do stuff to your truck, so you've got to buy stuff for that, and yeah, it ends up costing a fortune.
Yeah, that's true. And I think it is. It's one of the topics that keeps coming up. Most people I interview say that. Like when you've got workers, it makes it hard when you have a rain day because
Yeah,
you still got to keep paying them, but
yep,
you're not getting any income. So
yeah, that's right.
yeah. So
That's right. I must admit, a lot of the guys that we're working for at the moment, they don't just drop us at the drop of a hat. Like, one of the subdivision mobs I used to work for, if it looked like 2 mil rain, they'd just say, sorry, no subbies today. They'd keep their full timers working, but they'd drop the subbies. I'm pretty lucky now that, if these guys say that it's too wet, I generally believe them, like, because they're a good bunch of guys. It's actually we're working for Kai for Rockefellers Australia, and I know him, met him through racing, so we're friends. And if he says it's too wet, I believe him. It's too wet.
yeah, and so obviously that sort of comes down to relationships as well. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you
Yeah,
think about that? Like how important is it to have a good relationship with your customers?
relationship's massive. I honestly think it's one of the biggest things in earth moving is, some days I can make a crazy amount of phone calls or text messages, and it won't be just, I'll be ringing old foremans or, people just stay in contact. Hey, what do you got going on? Much coming up? I'll say I've got, 3 weeks left on this job. Have you got anything coming up in the future? I think relationships is the biggest thing to keep yourself busy. Just trying to help them out. Like if someone says to you, look, I need you in X amount of days, you don't definitely just push it away if you're busy. You try and work it out, try and help them. And the more you help people, the more they want you back. You can be approachable, and if you're willing to work with people, they're always willing to work with you.
Yeah, that's true. And what you said earlier about making constant contact, same thing. It's important to keep calling and keeping in touch with them because
Yeah,
then you're in their mind always.
yeah, that's right. That's right. I've sort of got a group of guys on text message that, I'll text bomb pretty much. I'll send out one generic text and it'll go to a group of people. And individually, I've told those people, hey, look, if you get this text, then, you don't have to respond to me. It's just you're on that group that I, talk to. So if you've got work, great. If you don't, you can just ignore it or whatever. But yeah, so I've sort of got a group of people that if I'm chasing something, I'll text them and see what's going on. But I'm always ringing someone to see what's going on.
Yeah, that's good. That's true. We touched a little bit on equipment. What
Yep.
equipment have you got at the moment?
So pretty much I've got an old 5 tonner, which was the second machine that I bought. So that's done 10,000 hours now. So she's pretty beat up. So that just sort of hangs around the farm. It's still good enough to go to work, but if you turned up on a site, some people might go, "Ooh," she's pretty rough. So I've got that. I've got a 15 ton. And I've got a 22. I've got two posies, and I've got a tandem, and I've got my tray truck, which I plan on putting a body on next year.
Mm. And is there like one particular brand that you stick with, and if there's any reason?
This is an interesting topic. I've got Hyundai's. My 15 and my 22 are Hyundai's. My first 3.5 tonner was a Hyundai. My 5 tonner is Hitachi. I'm not super big on brands. I'm not massively loyal to one brand. The reason I went with Hyundai originally is my 15 ton. The price I paid for that was far cheaper than anything else, Kobelco, Komatsu, anything like that. And as far as I was concerned, if I could get it $100,000 cheaper and still get paid the same rate as what these blokes are in, good machines, then it didn't matter to me. I had people come up to me all the time and go, "Oh, why'd you buy a Hyundai? Why'd you buy this?" And I'd just say to them, "Look, mate, I got this whole setup for X amount of dollars." And they're like, "Oh, that's cheap." And that's probably up to five, I don't know how many hours that I've done now, 6,500, something like that, maybe 5,500. And literally the only thing that's ever gone wrong with it is the air conditioner shit itself, and they replaced it under warranty. So haven't had a drama with that. And that's pretty much what pushed me into my 22. Same thing, 22. Hyundais are an excellent price point. And yeah, you get paid the same as whether you've got a expensive machine or a cheaper machine, as long as they're reliable. As long as they're reliable, and the warranty on them, we're really good.
Yeah, actually, that's probably something that I often ask is, do you think it's better to buy brand new or second hand? Like, does it make any difference to you?
Look, I've got some notes in here about that because if I was secondhand or brand new, it depends where you're at in your business. If you're just trying to get started, if you've got, again, only if it's reliable. If you're having breakdowns and stuff like that and issues, well, then there's no point buying secondhand. But if you can find a good secondhand machine, just to get your start in the business, I think it's definitely worth buying secondhand because your outlay is nowhere near as much as buying a brand new one, so your income's better.
Yeah.
But obviously, as I mentioned it has to be reliable. I bought a secondhand posi, which is just recently I've done this. I bought a secondhand one. It had done 7,500 hours, and that was literally just to stay on the farm. And when we retired the 5 tonner and I put my 5 tonner operator into my 15, I thought, bugger it, I'll go out in the posi for a little while. I own it, I'll make some money, be great, and then I'll set myself up with a new excavator. And I ended up getting pretty busy in the posi, but it started breaking down. Like, I reckon I was on one job and I don't think I did one day where it didn't blow a hose or spit a track it was embarrassing. Like, it actually became embarrassing how much I was broken down. So yeah, in that respect, it didn't pay off to do that. So I went out and bought a new one, which I don't know. I sort of regret that a little bit because I'm not a big fan of the posies, but I definitely prefer to be in an excavator. But it is what it is. So yeah, my experience, I got screwed over a little bit buying secondhand.
Hmm.
I would, if anyone getting into the machines, I would definitely suggest buying secondhand, or it doesn't matter if it's secondhand or brand new. You still get paid. If you're
Yeah,
working for someone, you still get paid the same whether it's secondhand or brand new.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm the same. I started with a second-hand machine, and then slowly worked my way up to buying new ones. It's funny. Unfortunately, I hardly ever christened any of the new ones. All my workers got to go in first.
I'm the same, yeah. So basically, my first 3.5 ton, that was secondhand, and it only done 1,400 hours, I think, and I kept that for a fair while. Um, Unfortunately, that got pinched. My beaver tail and my machine on the back got pinched from out of my driveway.
Wow.
So, yeah, that was secondhand. Then I bought my 5 tonner. That was secondhand. And then from there, I bought my 15 brand new. My 22 was brand new. And then obviously my trucks and that are secondhand as well.
Hmm. Yeah, with that issue about being stolen, how did you handle that?
Oh, look, yeah, it wasn't great. I had an employee working for me at the time. So basically, I was at the point where I had my uncle actually. He was operating my beaver tail on my 3.5. And when it got pinched, I had my 5 tonner, and I just recently bought the tipper to use as a float for the 5 tonner. And that's sort of when we got into the subdivision game, and the 5 tonner was pretty consistent. Was with Winslow. We were pretty consistent with them. This was a long time ago. So I was lucky I was able to throw him straight in the tipper and keep him moving with the tipper until everything got sorted out with the cops and insurance and all that type of stuff. And yeah, I was able to buy my 15. So look, it was probably a sort of a blessing in disguise, but I didn't really want to go much bigger, but it just sort of happened that way.
Yeah. I suppose I had a conversation with someone in another episode, and we're talking about reaching a tipping point. Once you get to a certain level with so many employees, like how do you feel you are at this moment?
Yeah, I'm sort of right there. I operate every day. Well, not every day. Being in a posse, as soon as it rains or looks like rain, you don't get work anyway. Um, but I definitely think it works well taking a couple of days off during the week and stuff like that to be able to handle paperwork, bookwork. Not that I do much because my wife's actually an accountant and runs her own firm and she does everything for me. So, but yeah, I'm sort of right at that point where if I put a couple more people on, I definitely think I'd have to step back, get out of the machine and manage more, which I think makes sense when you have 5 odd guys. There's someone always off sick, someone wants holidays. At least you're there to as a backup, as a sort of jump in whatever you need to just to keep the ball rolling.
Yeah, yeah. What I saw on one of your posts that you hired a hydromech machine once. How'd you find that?
I did. I was actually going to buy one. So we got to the point again where I had my 15 and my uncle was in that operating, and what was I doing? I think I was either in the 5 or in the truck or something like that. And we got a phone call, and I can't remember what mob it was, but they wanted another machine. And I wanted to jump at the opportunity to try and grow. So I hired it for a little while. Found the machine, yeah, it was pretty good. We didn't have too many complaints about it. I don't think I was actually in it. Or maybe I was in it for a day or so, but my uncle spent most of the time in it. Um, you know, it's one of those things in this industry. You get not promised a lot of things, but you get told that the job's going to run for X amount of time and this and that, and then next thing you know, sorry, we've got nothing for you. So I'm glad I hired it in that respect because we're in it for a little while, and then they just turned around, maybe 3, 4, 5 weeks later, wherever it was, and said, "Look, the job's finished. We've got nowhere for you to go at the moment, or no work for a 15." So yeah, we was lucky we were able to hand it back.
Yeah.
But in terms of the machine, I don't think he had too many complaints. I know there is people out there that, say they're slow and all that type of stuff, but you still see a few of them around. Probably not as many as I thought you were going to at the time, but yeah, you still see a few around.
Mm. All right. You mentioned at the start about using plant hires in the beginning. Do you still use plant hires for most of your work, or are you quoting stuff as well?
I still use plant hires, yes. Not at the moment. Both of my big machines are direct to people, so not through a plant hire. I'm still running around in the posse through a plant hire. But again, as I sort of mentioned, that's good for me to be able to go pick and choose those 1 day jobs. I sort of enjoy them a little bit and then you can pick and choose what you want to do. Like if you've got invoicing coming up, you just don't take a job for that day, and then you can invoice and stuff like that. So yeah, they still have their place. I definitely find them easier to work with because it's been mentioned before. You don't have to chase the money. The money's in there. They do most of the work for you, stuff like that. So yeah, they definitely still have a place in my business. That's for sure.
Yeah. How do you find all the payment terms and dealing with? I know a lot of customers have longer terms, like 45 days, 30 days. How do you handle all that?
The guys that I work for at the moment, the direct people, we're 30 days and a month. And generally, I get my money. They're pretty good. All the guys that we're working for are really good, especially Kai from Rockefellers. If all I got to do is just ring him, and as I said, we're mates. So generally, I'm ringing him and just telling him to bloody pay me, and he does. So and the other mobs, yeah, we're doing a bit of work for Service Stream at the moment, so they're generally pretty good and get paid on time. Yeah, I've had a couple of people go under on me working direct for them. I had CDC, the big plumbing mob, go under, and they owed me a fair bit of money, which I'm probably not going to see, which is unfortunate. And that definitely hit hard, but we worked through it. Yeah, other than that, one plant hire actually still owes me money from early. I must have been 2022. They still owe me money from, and I'm struggling to get the money out of them.
Do you still work?
Uh,
Do you still work for them?
Definitely not. Definitely not. Look, admittingly, what happened was the dockets. They're obviously on the other side of town to where I am, and they always said you got to drop your dockets in. But it was, driving from one side of Victoria to the other to drop dockets didn't make sense. So I used to post them in, and they reckon that some of them went missing in the post, which, I can't say they did or didn't. I probably should have sent them express post, but I didn't. But I still have all the photos. My truck driver sends me photos of the jobs, of the dockets every day. So I had all the photos, all the text messages, everything ready to go. So this one particular plant hire said, look, basically your dockets are late. You now don't get paid until the client pays us. I said, that's fine, no dramas. But this has been going on for over a year now. And I find it hard to believe because some of the clients that haven't paid are big clients. At one stage, it was Winslow's or National Logistics, which I'm pretty sure they're all up to date now. But I was saying to the plant hire, I'm like, you can't tell me that these guys haven't paid. So yeah, they still owe me. I think it's close on 6 or 7, something like that. We'll see what happens, whether I get it. I must admit, Luke McCrone, he's from the VTU. He's been absolutely awesome. He's helped me out, bridging that the communication gap.
Yep.
So he's been fantastic helping out that way. So I owe him a lot too, because that's been the biggest drama with this particular plant hire is communication. I'll send an email and they just ignore you. So yeah.
Yeah, I had a similar issue, but not for that sort of amount. I think it's only for like 1 day's work, but it took a long time, and then they'd say, "Oh, you've missed this cycle, so you'll have to wait till the next one." Oh, we'll put
Well,
in the.
we were actually got it actually got up to, I think it was 20 grand that they owed me. So by the time we went back, as I said, my wife's an accountant. We didn't. Again, it was probably our fault a little bit by not being vigilant on keeping up with our, paperwork and stuff like that. But by the time she went back and did like an audit on what they'd paid and what dockets, we'd find that, there was a day missing out of this week and a day missing out of that week. And it drummed it up to like 20 grand. And we've got the majority of it back, but it's still on sort of a, I'm a man of principle and, I've done the work, pay the bill, basically. If I didn't have photos of the dockets or the jobs and stuff like that, well, yeah, wouldn't have a leg to stand on. But, mate, here's the docket, here's the text message. Yeah. So we'll wait and see how that one pans out.
Yeah, no, hopefully it works out for
you.
What would you do differently if you could go back and start all again?
That's an interesting one. I don't know whether I'd do too much differently. Well, I definitely wouldn't work for CDC, but that was an opportunity where I had a chance to get in with a big plumbing company. And I'm actually a plumber by trade, and yeah, so I knew that they were massive, and it was a good opportunity to get in with them. Yeah, so I don't think I'd do too much differently in terms of how my business has progressed. Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with how it's all panned out at the moment.
Oh, that's good. And what advice would you give to anyone that's considering starting in the industry?
Look, I had a few mates in the industry before I started, and most of the time they were talking pretty negative about the industry. That it's hard, not much money in it. It's hard work. The work's not there, all that type of stuff. Where I find that there's plenty of work out there if you're prepared to hustle. If you're prepared to make the phone calls, there's plenty of work. Don't go out just with the intention of, think it's all going to fall in your lap, because it's not. You've got to go out, you've got to hustle, you've got to make your phone calls. You don't just sign up with one plant hire, you ring them all, ring every single plant hire and create a relationship with them. I found, Graham from Complete Plant Hire in the beginning, we ended up creating a pretty good relationship, even to the point where, mate, he'll be sitting down drinking a beer or whatever, and he'll send me a photo of a beer. So, we sort of became friends a little bit. And I think that helps massively. So, yeah, create relationships. You don't need the best of the best gear. That's probably the biggest thing. If you're going to go out and, as for a first machine, buy a brand new cat with these massive repayments and work for a plant hire, it's probably not going to work out too well for you. So yeah, don't need the best of the best gear. Create good relationships. Be prepared to work and make phone calls. Pretty much.
Yeah, no, that's it. And if you're going to put employees on, I always say as well, you've got to lead by example. So don't be
Correct.
afraid to get in and put some hard work in and show the guys
Correct.
that's
How
what
it's
you
done. Yep.
expect.
Yep. Exactly right.
How does technology affect you? Like, what have you had to put anything in your machines to keep up to date, or?
Yeah. So we got in our 22, we got TopCon GPS. It's not machine controlled. It's just normal TopCon. I don't think you can beat it. Coupled with a tilt hitch. Yeah, I think pretty much that's the way the industry's going. A lot of I don't know whether need for smaller machines, from a 15 up, I think needs TopCon. But yeah, other than that, there's probably not too much more technology that I use. I'm not really great with technology, to tell the honest truth, but TopCon and GPS isn't that hard to learn. I definitely thought it was going to be harder. My operator now, he'd never used it. And I just threw him in the deep end and said, mate, you'll be right. You'll work it out. And he was pretty good. Like, the subdivisions that we went to, he said to them, I can operate a machine. I'm a good operator. I've never used GPS. Just give me a week or so to get my head around it and we'll be right. And it did. It took him probably a little bit longer than that, but now he knows more about it than me now. So yeah, I think pretty much any new machine now that I buy will have GPS on it. I don't think you can beat it. I don't think the work's there without it really these days. I think it'll become a necessity.
Yeah, I think slowly the days of just having a machine with no attachments and
Yeah.
no tilt hitches and this and that will be, you won't
Tilt
be able to
hitches
operate.
Yeah, that's right. Tilt hitches are funny. Originally, when I bought my 15 tonner, I didn't put a tilt hitch on it. It was just a normal hitch. And I was that bloke where you go, oh, you don't need a tilt hitch. A bloody tilt hitch makes your shit operator look good and rah, rah, rah. But when it was all said and done, I just couldn't afford to put one on at the time. So now that we've got one on our 20, I don't think I'll ever go back from it again either.
Yeah, true. Um, so actually, just a quick one. Before we started the episode, we were talking about AirPods and things that you do,
Yeah.
because obviously while you're in the cabin, a lot of times you're either listening to music or podcasts or something. I find that
Yeah.
my AirPods die on me very, very quick. What do you do to sort of entertain yourself while you're operating?
Yeah. So I use Bose, I suppose they're Bluetooth noise cancelling headphones. That's what I'm using now. I find them awesome. I just listen to podcasts flat out. As I mentioned earlier, we're right into dirt bikes. So a lot of it's dirt bike podcasts, racing podcasts, stuff like that. Music, yeah. Sort of keep myself interested throughout the day in stuff because it's easy to lose interest in what you're doing if you're sitting on a a stockpile or something like that. So yeah, I'm
Mm,
definitely a podcast person, that's for sure.
You forgot to mention Earthworks Hub in there,
Oh,
yeah.
Earthworks Hub as well. Sorry.
That's
Yeah.
it. Nah, I'm kidding, man. I'm joking. No. What about social media? Like, how do you utilize that?
I don't really, in all honesty. My social media for Dirtpak, man, is very slim. Like we don't do much on it. I use my son's Instagram. Like as I mentioned, he's only 12, so I monitor his Instagram. He uses it flat out, sponsors and stuff like that. So it's a big part for him. For mine, I don't know. I just never really got into it. Like I've seen a lot of earth moving companies jump on Instagram and all the social media and make themselves Instagram famous and think they're top shit, and then you turn around the next week and they're crumbled, they're gone. So I don't know. I just sort of every now and then I'll throw something up, and I'm not a very good photographer and don't really speak very well or anything like that. So I don't do too much. If I find a cool photo one of the boys takes or something like that, I might throw it up or thank the guys for a job or something like that. But it hasn't really helped me in advertising or anything like that. Every now and then in the local area, we live in a rural area, so I'll throw it up on the Facebook pages that, we do driveways and stuff like that. So we might get some rural driveways and just spreading some crushed rock or profilings or something like that. And generally I give those to the boys for their weekend work. They love coming up here and jumping in the posies and just running out a driveway for the local people. So yeah, social media is not massive for me in my business.
Hmm. Where do you see yourself or your business in the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
5 to 10 years. Look, I definitely think I want to be out of a machine within 5 years. Um, I want to grow my business to the point where I can look after the employees that I've got now, and future employees, obviously. But the guys I've got now, they've become friends, family, stuff like that. And I know that you can't keep employees forever. I understand that, but I want to get to the point where I can pay them well enough, which I assume I do now. But I want to pay them well enough where they're like they want to stay. They want to. So I want to grow up big enough so they can grow within my business. It's probably the best way to put it. So I
Hmm.
don't just want to grow and put me to the top. I want to bring them up and sort of they can look after one section so I want to grow so they can move through the ranks in the business as well.
Yeah. Do you think that means more machinery or more like, I don't know, quoted work or project work?
Or I actually don't do any quota work at the moment. I've just had an opportunity only the past couple of days. It was actually through my cousin, who's the plumber. He does high-end plumbing work, and all the houses have basements and stuff like that. So his builder's actually got onto me and asked me to quote a basement dig for him. So I'll be starting to do that, which is a good opportunity. So yeah, that will be, hopefully that path sort of opens up a little bit. Obviously, I've got to get the job first. Yeah, I definitely think it means a bit more machinery. And I think the guys that I've got want to do that as well, especially one, Steve, who works for me. I was off duty for maybe a month, not long ago. My daughter had an accident, so I was looking after her, and I pretty much said to him, mate, go for it. You're me. Take control. And he did a fantastic job. Like, he really killed it, and he really tried hard, made all the phone calls, was willing to hustle. Like, I must admit, a lot of the people in the industry who found out what happened jumped in and helped him out as well. Kai from Rockefellers was awesome. So Steve, I think he'd be an awesome manager. You know, he could jump in and take control. And so, yeah, hopefully one day I can get to the point where he can do that and sort of run the fleet side of it. And yeah, see if we can grow this thing to, I don't want to get massive, like, you know, I don't want to go stupid, but I just want to be able to look after them, basically.
Yeah,
And then 10 years' time, hopefully I've got my young bloke in a machine, and I don't have to, he can do it all.
Yeah. Well, luckily he's out there practicing already,
Yeah,
so
that's right, exactly.
he'll be experienced by that time.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I could throw him on a driveway now, and especially in the posse, and you wouldn't know a 12-year-old's done it, that's for sure.
No, that's good. It's good. No, look, I hear what you say. I try and get my young fella out every now and then.
Yeah.
And he loves it. He loves getting out on the machines and that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder whether I'd push him towards coming into the business or try and let him go out on his own and then see what happens. But we'll see. I suppose I've got to leave it to him in some way.
Yeah, that's right. Look, I sort of said to him, because he tells me all the time that he's coming to work for me because he's better than me and all that type of stuff. And I sort of drilled it into him that, mate, I want you to get a trade first. Like, if that's what you want to do, obviously, I want you to get a trade, something to fall back on, because this industry's, you know, it's hit and miss. So that when it's good, it's good. When it's shit, it's shit. So if you've got a trade behind you, if you do need if your machine's down for a month or whatever, you can fall back on your trade and keep some money coming in. So I think a trade is a good, and it teaches you work ethic too. So a trade's a good thing before you jump into the machinery.
Yeah, no, it's good. Like you say, it's good to have a backup.
Yeah, especially something in the ground, like being a plumber or something like that. That's where you learn if you're doing drains as a plumber, even though you don't know how to operate a machine, you know what a machine is capable of doing.
Yeah, that's good advice actually, because for anyone thinking about getting in the industry, I think it's important to start somewhere like that, either as like a trade that's related to the earthworks field, or as a labourer or something like that, where you can actually see machinery and what they do. And
yeah, that's right, exactly. If you can sit there and watch, but you have to show interest though. Anyone can watch a machine and just go, oh yeah, that's what he's doing. But if you want to learn the machine and you go, oh, he did it that way. Oh, that's you can learn without even operating a machine. You can learn how stuff's done.
True. So where can listeners find you if they want to make contact? Like, what's the best way?
So Instagram's just at Dirtpak. Facebook's just Dirtpak Excavations. As I said, it's not that interesting. I do try, and I'd like to get better at it, but yeah, it's just not one of those things that I'm super into. So yeah, they're probably the two best spots.
All right, cool. No, Travis, thank you very much for this conversation.
No dramas.
Got a lot out of this. I wish you all the best with the business. Hopefully, all those things you're talking about come true, and hopefully your daughter's okay from what you were saying earlier.
Yeah, she's all good now, mate. Yeah. She it was a bit of a scary time, but she's 100% now, which is fantastic.
Oh, good to hear. No, top bloke. For anyone that needs any excavation work out, specifically in the north and the west.
Yep.
Look out for Dirtpak.
That's it.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
No worries, mate. Thanks very much for having me.
And to all the listeners out there, make sure that you keep looking out, follow, like, share the shit out of this, trying to get Earthworks Hub out there. I think it's very important for our industry to keep talking, sharing experiences. If you want to be a guest or if you've got any feedback or any comments, hit me up. You can go to info@earthworkshub.com.au, send me an email or go to one of the socials, click on message me, and yeah, I'm happy to take any advice or put a new guest on. Once again, thanks for listening. We'll see you in the next one.